So welcome, we are in ACR, Adobe Camera Raw, and I'm going to go over all these features up here. Now I have this image, which is not the most exciting, but it's going to help me demonstrate a few of these and what they do. So the first thing that we're going to go over is actually this way over here, which is your full screen mode, meaning right now you notice it's cutting off the edges here. So if I want to go to full screen mode, I can just click this and bam, it fills up the whole entire screen and we are ready to go. So nice, clean, and ready to tone this image. So the first one is just your standard zoom tool. So you can zoom in, you can zoom out. That is your standard zoom tool or looking at it. Next is the hand tool. The hand tool will let you, if you zoom in, let you move your image around to get to a different spot if you'd like. The next one is one that I do not use ever, and there's a reason why. It's a white balance tool, and so the idea is to click on something neutral gray and it balances to white. Well, that's assuming that everything is under perfect lighting constraints, and that's how you want it, which is usually not the case. Plus, you have to have the exact right color or a neutral color to actually click on. So just not something I'm a huge fan of. So this is a color sampler tool, so you will click on this and it will sample that specific color. So you can see right here it is RGB values right there. So the next one we have is called targeted adjustment, and under targeted adjustment, now I'm clicking and holding down on this, it's giving us a few options. So you can control luminance value, saturation, hue, or just the curve. We'll start off with the curve. So you go over a value or an area that you want to change. So I'll do this shadow area. I'm going to click, hold, and then drag up or drag down. Anything in that value, it's changing. So you can see over here, I'm in a shadow area, so it's changing those shadow areas in that image. If I come over here to where something's more white, and I adjust that, then we can see over here it's changing that area. So this is targeted adjustments. They work okay. The problem is a lot of times like you might want to just change this area but not this area. So targeted adjustments don't work there. I tend to only tone in Photoshop. I do not use targeted adjustments ever. So the next one will be hue. So I'll go over this purple hue. We'll just drag down and you can see it's changing just that hue. So this is a function where it actually works pretty good. So if you wanted to shift, either desaturate or slightly change the color because it was a little bit off, this works pretty good without having to make a selection. Saturation is the same way, so I can go over that purple and just desaturate it. So if I want to get rid of this background green, I can just click and easily get it, and that way I didn't have to go in here and make any sort of selection or a mask. It makes it really easy. And so luminance is just brightness value as well. So the next thing that we will go into is the crop tool, and obviously that's just allowing you to crop your image. The next one is the straighten tool, and so this is why I have sort of a rectilinear image here. If I wanted to straighten something in this image, now this is not going to work perfect for this image, but basically I'm going to come in here and draw a line on where I want it to be straightened, and it is making that area level. So you can see it's kind of shifted it over. So I'll do it again here and make, whoops, we're in the crop tool. So I'll just come here and drag along that point, and it will, as soon as I apply it, it's making this line perfectly straight. Actually, it's making this kind of weird cattywampus look because that doesn't need to be straight, but that's basically showing you how. So in this instance, I could use this line here because I want that to be perfectly straight. That would make sense. And now we know this vertical line is straight, which would make logical sense. So next is the transform tool. And so this is kind of why I have this image here. We're going to actually drag this and put that line there. And then I'm going to take this line and make another line here. And you can see it's trying to skew this to make this line horizontal and this line vertical. So if you ever have an area like a building and you shot and it's sort of out or twisted or not, the sides are not perfectly straight, you would use this transform tool to adjust it. And then you can go in here and adjust it even more once you've kind of set up that basic grid. And there's a variety of different ways that you can make this work. So you're just going to click on the different versions and it's going to help you achieve what you're trying to get after with that specific image. So spot removal tool. So I'll get rid of the screw here. So it's just like the spot removal tool in Lightroom, which I personally hate. And so if it was me, I would wait and do this in Photoshop. And if you've just never used it, it takes a while, but there's reasons why I don't like it. But for some basic simple things, it does work. So it's here, and then it's affecting or sampling that spot. You can move the spot to a different spot if you would like, and it's using content aware to remove that. So red eye reduction, there's no red eye in this photo, but it's a red eye removal tool. So this is your adjustment brush allowing you to go in here and do specific adjustments. So if I wanted to darken this area of the speakers in the white area, I can come up here and easily darken that. So what I'm going to do is click on this minus. That's going to default everything back here and move this over to minus 50, which might be a little bit too much, but we'll try it. And then I'm going to paint that adjustment in. So you need to make an adjustment and then you can paint it in. And then once you have it, you can adjust it from there. So I can make it darker or lighter. So you have basically infinite control over that area. So you can do that, and each time you need to use a new brush, you can. So I have more on specifically doing this. This is one tool which I think is great in Adobe Camera Raw. So here we have a graduated filter, meaning so we're applying something, we're either making it brighter or darker, and then we're adjusting this little thing here to make it a graduated filter. So if I hit escape, I'm actually going to change it here and we'll make this darker up. So if I want this to get darker and that to lighter, I can simply use this type of a filter. Hit clear all. The next one is the radial filter. Same thing as the graduated, except for it is radial. We'll adjust these points here. So I want to get sort of a vignette looking effect on this image. So we're using the same exposure here. You don't have to use exposure if you want to use color or whatever you'd want to use to make any sort of adjustment. It's not affecting it here, but it's radiating out from like 0, sort of like a feather from here to 100%. This just brings up your preferences dialog box for Adobe Camera Raw, which we're not going to get into. And if you need to rotate your images, you'll go ahead and click on those. So those are all the tools within Adobe Camera Raw up here on the top. The ones I use are adjustment brush. That's pretty much it. I guess I could use the level, but I just do it in Photoshop and crop. So I've used most of that stuff. But I do use the adjustment brush a lot. So my main goal within Adobe Camera Raw is just to get my exposure to a better spot than it was initially. So thanks for watching. Any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And don't forget to subscribe.